Hello everybody, welcome to the table. Today we have some knives to chat about. So namely, right here in the center, we have a copy of the Microtech Exocet, and of course this one is unique because of the donut finish, which of course has been very popular over the last year, so why not ring out 2023 with this interesting looking clone of the Microtech Exocet. Now, will Microtech ever make an official Desert Warrior version of this knife? Maybe, maybe not. But this is what it might look like if they ever decide to do so. So we'll make some comparisons to other knives on the table and kind of just share my thoughts on this knife. And now, of course, I do not support purchasing clones. Then why did I do it? In my particular case, I have my reasons, but I've given Microtech plenty of money over the years. It's no skin off my back if I decide to purchase this for the low price of $40. So yes, this Microtech Exocet clone was $40 shipped off of AliExpress. So this one comes from Jufu. They are one of the Chinese brands that manufactures knives over there, mostly being clones. And I'll drop a link in the comments if anyone's interested in that. But this is kind of an interesting design, and I've seen cheap Microtech Exocet clones out there. A lot of the times, even in the Chinese photos, they just don't look very good. But this was the first one to really, get my attention, so to speak. So I decided to pick it up, and purchasing it direct from China took 4 weeks to the day to get to my door here in the United States. So what do we have here? So of course, this is obviously a clone of the Microtech Exocet. So I will hold side by side the two different knives. So we have the original Microtech Exocet here. This is the Bounty Hunter edition, and of course a clone. And side by side, they may even look similar, but in hand, you can totally tell which one is legit and which one is not. There are a lot of small details, but namely, just look at them side by side. Look at the thickness there. So you can definitely see that the clone is a lot thicker in terms of material and just overall size than the original knife is. And they probably just went with cheaper materials due to the price, because again, this one's what, $250, maybe $300 on a good day, and this one right here, $40. So there's definitely going to be a difference in materials here. So you can see the thickness right there. The clone is definitely a lot thicker, and it's most certainly going to be heavier as well. You can definitely feel that in hand. So let's just real quick, we'll do some weight measurements. So our clone Microtech right here, this is coming in 3.8 ounces. So not a heavy weight, but still, I know it's heavier than this one just by hand feel, because this one is, 2.9 ounces. So it's almost a full ounce lighter with the thinner materials and the original, of course, design from Microtech. So that's just one thing right there. Not the end of the world. And the action is actually really nice on the clone, I will say. That does take some effort to get the blade out of the handle on this trigger here. So once it fires, though, retracting it requires a lot less pressure. So a lot less to get it back in the blade. And now I will say, since I've purchased this, since I've been playing with it, I haven't had the blade misfire yet, so there's been no issues with that. We can still see there's some factory grease on the blade right there. And so the reliability so far remains to be seen. And if you've seen any of my really older videos, you'll know this particular knife from Microtech, this Exocet, I think I've sent it back to Microtech 2 or 3 times because it just has major reliability issues. So that was, again, one of the reasons why I wanted to pick up a clone. I kind of wanted to see long-term how the reliability would be on a copy versus the original, because I'm really not at all satisfied with the original Microtech design. It's just really, in my opinion, poorly implemented, and this particular copy of it I have is almost junk, in my opinion, in terms of reliability. Build quality is great, look is great. This one, though, is kind of junky. And so a clone, how does it compare? How does it stack up? It's good enough, in my opinion, because again, remember, you're paying $40 for this. So what do we have here? So we have some kind of phony markings on the pocket clip there. You can see this one right here says Proof Run 41, Microtech, June 2023. And now, was this made in June of 2023? Maybe, maybe not. It's likely just random numbers they put on there. The pocket clip itself is honestly going to be the biggest difference between this knife here and the original Exocet. So original Exocet, this is meant to be a money clip, so you can put your bills in there. And so as a result, in addition to being a pocket clip, it's very tinny, it's very thin, and it's very flexible, so you can put money in there, put cash in there, cards in there. Whereas on this particular clone, This steel pocket clip is meant to be just a pocket clip. It is very, very tight. It is hard to pull off the handle there. And so it might be even tough to get in and out of your pants depending on the thickness of the material that you're wearing. So this is a very thick steel pocket clip. So that is a big difference right there. So they went pure, just the copy based on looks, not on function. So again, similar size and shape, but this is definitely a dedicated pocket clip. What I do like about the details on this clone, we can see that there are the screw heads here, and they're all different colors. Same thing as on the rear here. So they put a lot of little details into that as well, which is always kind of cool. So we just see a lot of color here. So if, you know, the whole donut theme thing is your style, this is going to be for you. And for me, I own probably like 10 donut knives at this point. So I do love the idea that as knife users, we can poke fun at ourselves, have something kind of silly like this. And I know the kind of the hardcore knife guys really get upset when there are donut knives out there. Not sure why exactly. It doesn't float their boat, and that's reason enough, I suppose. What's also kind of cool about this particular knife in the box it came with, and now, by the way, this is not a legit Microtech box. Obviously, there's some Chinese markings right there. And even these small Microtechs, when they send those out, they send them out in a full-size Microtech box. You know, big honkin' box here. Always expect a big box. If you get something small like this, more than likely it's going to be a clone. Included a cheapy sheath, and the funny thing is the sheath doesn't even fit the knife. But they also included a disassembly tool right here. So this is a little tool that will fit the screw heads on the knife. So if I ever wanted to disassemble this, I could with the included tool. Unfortunately, you will notice the screw heads on the legit Exocet are just a little bit smaller dimensionally. So that tool will not work on the original knife. And I was kind of hoping it would. Because when I bought this one, I saw that it came with the disassembly tool. So I was kind of hoping I'd get that bit to disassemble this one as well. But that is not the case. So I can take apart this one if I'd like to. Not the original, though. So just keep that in mind. But either way, for 40 bucks, we're getting a tool. We're getting a little cheapy sheath. And of course, the knife itself, in my opinion, is more than worth that much just from looks alone. Function has been great so far. In side-by-side comparisons, let's compare the blades. So, of course, these two knives fall into that sub 2-inch auto category. And it's hard to see on camera maybe, but you will see that the blades dimensionally are a little bit smaller on the clone here. So the legit Exocet is just a smidge longer. It's just a smidge wider. Just dimensionally speaking, it's just a little bit smaller blade on the clone. In terms of thickness of the blade, very similar. Very similar. You can kind of see, I don't know if you can see that very well on camera. There we go. So very similar thickness overall. I do like the coating on the blade, this blue paint. And I love that the entire knife is painted. And as you use the knife, it's going to start to get, you know, some wear and tear on it. Kind of look more like the fake finish on the Bounty Hunter edition here. But I do love the appearance of the knife. And so comparing this knife also to another legit donut knife out there. So this is the Civivi Elementum. And this one, they fully, you know, kitted out with these sprinkle scales. So let's look at a quick comparison color-wise. You can check those out right next to each other. And they are definitely both painted on. So these are flat, like a flat texture. If you run your fingernail across the aluminum handles here, you can kind of feel a little bit of upraised texture where the painting on the sprinkles are. But those will wear off if you carry and use the knife. And that's true for both of these. So it is just definitely a paint job. And the attention to detail, like I said, the different screw colors on the Elementum they did here. Again, same thing on the Exocet clone. So pretty cool color-wise, style-wise. And I think this type of knife is just for a very particular kind of customer, you know. Number one, someone who's willing to buy something off of AliExpress knowing it's a clone. And number two, somebody who enjoys the whole donut, you know, donut knife motif type of a deal, you know. So if you like that, then this is for you. So again, side-by-side comparisons, we'll just real quick put the blade out again. We'll put it next to the legit Exocet right here. And right here, another similar knife. This is the Axial Dart. And so while it is similar to the Exocet, It is not a clone. It's definitely its own unique knife, but you can see, again, shape-wise, size-wise, very similar. And so blade length also very similar. And in terms of thickness, these two knives are actually a lot closer together. So you can see the thickness there. So they definitely have thicker scales. So there we go, these three knives right here. And just on the table, of course, up in the corner, we have the Microtech Mini Trudon and the Microtech UTX 70. So we'll just put those, let's see what I can do here. Let's lower you, put these little guys right in there. And there we go. So we have 5 California legal autos right here on the table, and you can see them dimensionally right next to each other. And of course, our lovely Civivi Elementum, just for flair and color. But I did want to share this knife with everyone just to show you what's out there. I thought it was kind of cool. It's just a kind of a random chance that I saw this browsing AliExpress. I do like to keep an eye on what's available over there. Very rare that I actually buy knives direct from them because I'm always kind of, wary of the time it takes to get here, shady sellers. I've had things not appear from AliExpress before, get lost in shipping, so to speak. So I don't always trust their platform for purchases. But this one I took a gamble, and a month later I have a pretty nifty looking, unique knife in my hands here. So if you have any questions or comments, feel free to drop them below, and feel free to share all the hate. Yes, this is a clone. Yes, I did support a clone company, but I've had my issues with Microtech. Go watch my videos on this sucker here. I am not really happy with Microtech as a company. So I feel totally justified dropping 40 bucks on a competitor. But I hope you all have a nice day, and I will see you later. Bye-bye.